What is cacao really? Is it really a superfood like all these people are talking about? Is cacao really even good for us? Well, stay tuned for this video as I'm going to be going into exactly what cacao is and some of the health benefits that it contains. Hi vibes everybody, and welcome back to VIBERNATION channel. In today's video, I'm going to be going into all the different health benefits of cacao. Is it really good for us? What are some of the benefits it has? Some of the things to be aware of when consuming it, and what type of cacao is going to be the best for us? Because, we live in a world where, there's so much sugary processed chocolate out there. And this is where, they use the cacao bean to make chocolate, but there's a difference between processed chocolate and the raw unprocessed cacao. And that's what I'm going to be getting into in today's video. So if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Leave us a like if you like the video, as we'll have video updates weekly as well. So when it comes to cacao, we have to look into some of the ancestry to this food, as it's been used traditionally for centuries. Over the years, they've dated it back almost thousands of years, where the Aztecs and Mayas would use cacao even as currency. They would use it in different ceremonies to invoke different states of consciousness, and just for tribal ceremony, basically to bring the tribe together. And what were they using it for? Why do they prize it so highly? Like I said, they use it as a currency, as a form of money. So why do they prize this bean so highly? Theobroma cacao, even the scientific name, even translates to food of the gods. So, there's this mystical kind of mysterious energy even behind, what cacao really is. And a lot of that has been lost in today's, world, in today's society. We focus so much on, things that taste good and, making everything sweeter and more appealing. And, due to that processing that chocolate goes under nowadays, we've lost a lot of that more ancient connection to the sacredness of the plant, as well as to the healing benefits that it contains in its raw and unprocessed form. So when it comes to cacao, what cacao actually is a fruit, and the chocolate that we're consuming comes from the bean within the fruit, or the seed within the fruit, which is very high in fat. And they melt that down, they press it into the different powders and pastes and butters to make chocolate with. But most of the time, traditionally, chocolate is actually processed through heat, through high temperatures. They roast the beans. They, use high heat to process it and extract it. And what this does is it denatures a lot of the nutrients and trace elements that cacao actually has, because cacao in its unnatural, or in its raw unnatural state, is actually very high in, some of the things it contains. Very high in antioxidants. It's actually one of the highest sources of antioxidants foods in the world, and that in of itself is a pretty high claim to stake, as antioxidants. They help us fight free radicals. They help protect our cells on a cellular level from cancer, from different environmental stresses. Antioxidants are crucial for our body's ability to adapt to those stresses and neutralize those free radicals. So it's extremely high in antioxidants, and that in of itself is already impressive. What most people don't know is that cacao contains over 300 different elements in total within its trace minerals. Like I said, the polyphenols, the antioxidants, the different theobromine chemicals, which stimulate our mood. They stimulate us like a mild source of caffeine almost. They give us this source of energy and vitality. And cacao can definitely give you all these things if you find a more raw and unprocessed version of it, compared to industrial chocolate, like I was talking about, the more palatable, more marketable version of raw cacao. Because cacao is actually very bitter in its 100% form. It's very like a dark chocolate. Imagine the darkest chocolate with no sugar. It's not going to be sweet, it's going to be bitter. So obviously, even dark chocolate isn't going to give you as much benefits as the cacao itself. So that's why, personally, I recommend to get, a raw cacao powder, or even better, the beans or the nibs themselves. You can throw them in a smoothie, oatmeal, and protein shakes, whatever really kind of creativity you have in the kitchen. You can make different desserts, even all their different chocolate type desserts you can make with cacao and have them to be a healthier version, a healthier alternative of that, sweet food that you may have enjoyed, that may have some sort of nostalgia to you. You can make that with cacao in a healthier way and actually still get some of the benefits from the cacao as well as enjoying it. But basically what I wanted to go into is some of the more trace elements that are in cacao, because these are some of the lesser known compounds that actually have a very subtle but profound effect on our consciousness. And that's why they would use this in ceremony. They would use this in different rituals, to gain connection and communication with the spiritual realms, with their ancestors even. And they would use cacao. They would make a hot drink out of the cacao just melted, and they would use that in their rituals. And cacao may well give you that sort of, spiritual spark, that sort of creativity in your spiritual practices or in your, different day-to-day activities. You may find more inspiration, more joy just by using cacao, by consuming it. And you'll notice this the more you consume it, the more you will notice these benefits, because like I said, the effects are very subtle, but over time you will get in tune with that vibration, that subtle vibration. And that's where, some of the different trace elements come in, like the theobromine, like I was talking about, is like a mood enhancer. But then they have the PEA, or the phenethylamine, which is even deeper, basically lost molecule to this cacao, as it's been hybridized, it's been GMO over the years. And the beans don't produce the same PEA or phenethylamine that they once did. What phenethylamine is a mild stimulant on the heart, and it stimulates and opens the heart chakra. But it also releases a bliss molecule called anandamide, which gives you this feeling of euphoria and tranquility and, serenity, while also being mildly stimulating the heart chakra with the phenethylamine. And you get doses of phenethylamine, when you're highly attracted to someone, when you're in like a loving relationship with someone, or, the oxytocin as well. You get all those responses, but cacao even can give us that same sort of response of bliss and euphoria and connection just by consuming it. And that's something that most people won't really tell you about, and most people aren't aware of that aspect that it has. But that's why so many people intuitively, they go to chocolate, dark chocolate, when they're stressed out or they're craving something. They go to the chocolate. And it's not necessarily the chocolate that they're going for and just the sweetness itself, the dopamine and all that. But in cacao, it's the deeper aspects that actually reduce the stress. That's high in magnesium, so it reduces stress, high in the minerals and the trace elements, like I was saying, that actually gets your nervous system to, sort of shift a little bit, shift your frequency into a slightly higher frequency. And that's what cacao can do in balance. But I just want to say this, that, I'm not a doctor. I don't recommend you consume cacao. Always do your research and your own inner search on, what these things are going to do for you. Now you can use them, and, you don't want to abuse it. You don't just want to eat a bunch of cacao every day, and because that can have some negative side effects. But in moderation, I do feel that cacao is a very good superfood and a supplemental food as well, because of all the minerals. It has all the amino acids, fatty acids, so many good benefits to cacao that, it is a really highly valuable food. And that's why, a lot of people nowadays, they'll call it, this superfood or whatever you want to call it, but really it is an ancient food. It is a sacred food. And, we should have that respect and that sort of connection with our food. Because once we can get into a more intuitive vibration, we'll start to realize that when we eat certain things, or why we, crave certain things, our body is actually needing those nutrients. So if we can eat more intuitively, we can, use foods like cacao and different superfoods, which I'll be getting into this series. I'll be getting more into different herbs that you can also use to help with you. So stay tuned for those videos. And I'll be getting more into, how these different foods really help us. But I just wanted to focus mainly on the cacao in this video, and how it does have a lot of benefits, some of the background behind of it, some of the, misconceptions about it nowadays, as, cocoa is, and the highly processed chocolate is taking over most people's palates compared to raw cacao. But there is, a lot of talk about cacao. So I wanted to, bring that out there, because I've experienced, that bliss. I've experienced that connection with cacao as a musician. I use it a lot actually for inspiration in my music, and get these different flows that come through me when I'm using the cacao. And, I notice those effects because I make, raw cacao myself, even where I'll make it into a bar with different herbs and stuff. And I'll save that for another time. But just to give you an example, I've worked very closely with cacao over the years and developed a close connection with the plant spirit, or that plant, the essence, that subtle vibration behind the plant. And it's a very powerful medicinal food, very powerful sacred food that we can use with that right intention to boost our creativity, to boost our imagination, to boost our, our intuitive connection. And that feeling of oneness, that feeling of bliss can come, just through using, this plant in a balanced way. So pretty much that's all I wanted to get into in this video today. A little bit about cacao, how it can help you, and some of the benefits it has, as well as some of the misconceptions around chocolate. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. Once again, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and hit the little notification bell for weekly updates on our channel. Our highest gratitude for watching, and peace in and out.